And good morning, One Life. It's great to be with you. You're locked into our weekly agent conference call this morning. I'm Jeff Bowles. This morning we have a couple of great guests that are going to be on the call with us, starting with Mr. Benji Crooms. Benji has been with One Life for 14 years now. Benji's received a number of awards in regards to leadership. He has been a Division Manager of the Year twice. And he also was the Call Center Manager of the Year in 2011 and 2013. Benji is a true example of leadership. You can see it in the values he possesses that we also count as core values, including integrity, service, excellence, and teamwork. This was evident when Benji received the 2012 One Life Character Award. On a personal note, Benji is married to Melissa Crooms and has been for 17 years. They have 3 children, Brennan, Peyton, and Rihan, I believe is the way you pronounce that. Benji will correct me in just a minute, I'm sure. When Benji isn't working, he enjoys spending time with his family. And I believe Benji is calling in from his cell phone, so I'm going to see if I can pull him up here on the call. I know he's on here. I'm not seeing his number right this second. And I'll tell you what I'll do. Benji, if you will, I'm going to adjust the mute settings on here where you can just press star 6 and unmute yourself and please nobody else. Benji, are you there?
Yep, right here.
Good deal.
I called in from the office phone, so we wouldn't have any connection issues, so I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
You ready to go? You ready for me?
Absolutely. I'm ready for you.
Fantastic.
Bring it on.
Let's get after it then. And it is Ryan, not Rihan, so we just spelled it a little bit different there. But that's all right. I don't mind a bit. They're all 3 precious. So, all right. So let's get with it, and we'll talk for just a minute this morning about Jesus. I'm going to start over in Genesis chapter 17, verses 3 through 5, and then when we get to the end, we'll pray and finish this thing up right quick. So, but in Genesis chapter 17, verses 3 through 5, it says, "Then Abraham fell on his face, and God talked to him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. No longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham." And it says here, I believe every person carries the seed of success. And we're going to talk about encouragement for just a brief minute here, on today anyway. But you see so much in the world now, it's hard to turn on the news and be encouraged, or turn on the TV and be encouraged. And there's so many people getting, put down, or just not being lifted up. But I think every person carries the seed of success. The ability to find another seed of success takes commitment, diligence, and a genuine desire to focus on others. A lot of times we get hung up on ourselves when it would be so much easier for us to focus on others. You got to look at someone's gifts, their temperament, their passions, successes, joys, and opportunities. What makes them happy? That's what I look at when I look at another person. Let me see what makes them happy, and let's build on that. And it says, once you find that seed, you need to fertilize it with encouragement and water it with opportunity. If you do, the person will blossom before your eyes. Raising people to a higher level and helping them be successful is more than just giving them information or skills. We do that a lot as managers. We just give them the information and say, here you go, take off and become great. There's no flower that's ever been planted. Maybe there is. I'm not a gardener, so I shouldn't say that, but that you didn't have to take care of it and water it. I know around my house they all die because we don't do a very good job of taking care of plants and helping them, and it's hard for others to do that also. Not just agents, but friends, family, whoever. So the good news is that when you understand some basic concepts about people, it opens the door to your ability to be able to develop others. So a few things here to remember. Everyone wants to feel worthwhile. Man, that's a hard thing to really get is everyone. We think of ourselves, we think of those around us, that are the closest to us. But how about our agents? How about people that we look at that may not be as talented or may not have as much? They want to feel worthwhile too. You look at the 12 that Jesus recruited. Wow. I bet there was plenty of times that they didn't feel worthwhile. Look at Moses. Moses had a stuttering problem, was embarrassed pretty much of it, and he really didn't feel like he was worthwhile. But the second point says everyone needs and responds to encouragement, because they didn't really give Moses a way out. They just said, this is what you're going to do. And he said, but I can't talk, I can't speak. It doesn't matter. This is what you're going to do. But encouragement. I try to take time every week, and by no means am I the best at this, but to send text to encourage others, to let them know, that I believe in them and that I trust them and that I love them and I know that they can do it. Because some people, all they need is that one text or that one word of encouragement to push them over the top. I could take a long time here and tell my story. A lot of you know it. But, I was never one who felt that I was good enough to do anything. But I had a few people in my life pour into me and encourage me. And, man, the more that encouragement came, the more courage I had inside to say, hey, maybe I am something. Maybe I can do something. It says people are naturally motivated. People want to be motivated. They want to know what they're doing is for a good cause. You get them involved and get them going, and it's amazing that you can take a person that you never thought had it in them and begin to motivate them, begin to encourage them, begin to love them, and watch them go. Because again, if you knew me 16 years ago, you would have never said that guy could do some of the things that he's done. People, next point here, people buy into the person before they buy into your leadership. It's hard for somebody to be under you and buy into you if they are not, or buy into your leadership if they're not buying into you. If they see you not walking the path, if they see you not leading, if they see you not doing the things that you're out there telling people to do, it's hard for them to buy into your leadership. And then the last one, it says, the more you understand people, the greater your chance of success in mentoring others. And you may be on this call this morning and say, hey, I'm not really a mentor. Everybody is a mentor. Somebody is looking up to you. I tell our teenagers a lot of times that I know you just wake up and you're doing life, and man, you think, hey, I'm not a leader. I'm just somebody here. But it never fails. There's a smaller kid always wanting to be like you or always looking up to you, and you're going to make an impact on somebody. And if you don't get anything out of this today, understand you're making an impact on somebody today. But the question is, what kind of impact are you making? What kind of impact are you making on your kids, on your wife, on your family, on your coworkers, on the agents under you? What kind of impact are you making? Are you making the world better today? Are you making someone else better? Or is your example causing others to fail? Are you giving up? Do you quit very easily? Are you not motivated? Are you not working as hard as you can work to be successful in God's eyes? Not in your eyes, but in God's eyes. Those are all questions that you have to ask yourself today. But the main question I want you to ask yourself today is, are you making an impact? And if so, what kind of impact? Is it a positive or a negative impact today? So I urge you to go out and encourage others today and lift someone up, because you never know when you may change your life. Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you for this opportunity that you've given us today. I thank you for One Life. I thank you for your guidance and your leadership to get us to where we're at. And God, I look for great things in the future, even greater things, I should say, than what we've done already, Father. I pray that you bless each and every person that is affiliated with One Life. I pray, God, that you bless the leaders to be able to see the way God, that you want us to go, and help us to stay conscious of your will for our lives and for our company, God. We just thank you again for the opportunity to talk about you today, and I pray that you help us to make a positive impact on someone today, and we pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for being on the call. I was going to tell you I've got a good friend named Rayhan, so I didn't know exactly if that was a Rayhan or a Ryan or what we had going on there, so I apologize. Send my apologies to Ryan.
No problem.
And thank you again for being on the call, Benji.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And again, thank you to Benji for being on the call. Quite an excellent job. As I mentioned in his introduction, he's definitely defined himself as a leader, not only in word, but also in deed, in his actions. It's shown through. He's been rewarded numerous times. I can remember being at our national sales convention trips, and it seemed like Benji was just up there constantly, getting awards for his successes in the field and in management and different things, and then also being up there because he's such a great representation of the values that we try to put forward here at One Life. So, again, an honor to have Benji on the call. And one of the most popular videos we had from the last Leadership Summit was actually the one that Benji spoke at. I think it was originally a 30-minute segment, and it went for about an hour and 20 minutes maybe, but it was one of the best segments we've had and one of the most requested, yet again, as I mentioned, for us to have on the videos, and one of those that have been played the most regularly. So thanks again, Benji. We'll move now quickly to our production update for the week, starting with the agency, All of One Life. And again, it takes us a little over a week or so to make sure our numbers are correct and we've got everything tabulated in the correct way. For All of One Life, we had $920,000 worth of submitted annualized premium, 9/12 through 9/16, not this week that we just finished up, but the week before. So an excellent week for All of One Life. And now moving on to teams from 5 to 1, starting at number 5 out of Lakeland, Florida, our Legacy United group with $57,128 worth of submitted business. Excellent week for those guys out of Lakeland. And then the health group, a new name to the top 5. They're out of Missouri, wrote $63,493 worth of submitted annualized premium. Excellent week for the health group. At number 3, for the mid-level group here on our top 5, United Senior Brokerage, who Benji is affiliated with and has quite a team. They've got a number of those good managers over there. I know Benji is writing a lot himself and does some management himself, but those guys in that same area there out of Metter, Georgia, doing a terrific job with $69,196 worth of submitted annualized production. At number 2 on the list, and back and forth, 1 and 2, as always, Innovative Insurance Brokers came in with $140,478 worth of submitted annualized premium. And then back at number 1, Life Management Group out of Opelika, Alabama. Excellent week with those guys, writing $155,129 worth of submitted annualized premium. We'll move now to our individuals on the top 10 list for the agents of the week, and then the number 1 agent of the week we'll get to in just a moment. At number 10, Spencer Long, $7,725. Number 9, Mr. Mark Hamilton, $7,888. Number 8, Marilyn Newman with $9,596 worth of submitted production. Number 7, Shelley Lambert with $9,635. Then up over that $10,000 mark at number 6, Scott Smith, $11,469 worth of submitted annualized premium. One of our managers out of Chicago, Illinois, Mr. Scott Shaddy, $12,555 worth of submitted annualized production. Number 4, Daniel Padilla, $12,607. Number 3 on the list for our top 3, George Kreider with $14,460 worth of submitted annualized production. At number 2, Vern Barkdale with $15,591 worth of submitted annualized production. And at number 1, with a drum roll, Angela Case with an excellent week, $15,824. It never goes, never without fail do we have number 1 and number 2 not be pretty close together, seems like. We've been having several agents, and hey, when you write $15,000, and you're just about $200 or $300 away from number one, I'm going to say you're one of my agents of the week for sure, because that's an excellent job for Vern and Angela. So congratulations to those. And Agent of the Week, Angela Case. We'll move now to our brief marketing update. Don't have a too terribly whole lot for you, but we do want to let you know about one of the many ways that you can connect here with One Life and stay up to date. For text updates, as a matter of fact, is what we'll hit on today. You can get your text updates on things like meetings, conference calls, news, and updates to One Life, also contests, trips, and the like. All you have to do is text One Life, that's ONELIFE, no spaces, to the number 95577. Again, every week we try to let you know about the conference call, give you the login information there to make it easy for you. And then also we'll keep you up to date with all the different things going on here at One Life for our agent force. So make sure you plug in there. We'll move now to our featured speaker for this morning's call, Mr. Adam Schwartz. Originally from the Bronx in New York, Adam went to go to college at the University of Hartford, where he graduated in 2004. After he failed his Intro to Insurance class a number of times, he was told he might not ought to go into life insurance. Not accepting that for an answer, somehow he wound up in insurance anyway, first at National Agents Alliance for a few years. Then he helped manage a group called the King Group. Because of some relationships he had with a couple of members on the One Life team, he decided to take the plunge with One Life 2.5 years ago and hasn't looked back since. He is currently engaged to the love of his life, whom I had the privilege of meeting when she joined him here at the home office for our last leadership summit. This morning, Adam has a terrific talk planned on how to maximize your efficiency while recruiting and selling. I hope you'll help me make welcome Mr. Adam Schwartz to our conference call. Adam, are you with us?
I am. Thank you so much for having me. I got to tell you, I felt really pumped and confident until you had Benji come up, and then you said I'm the featured speaker. Oh, that's a tough act to follow. I'll miss his voice. Life Management, that's a great team, man. They're killing it. Well, I'm really excited to be on. This is my time where I can give back, and just to kind of give a little bit more of an introduction. I came here maybe 2.5 years ago. It was just me and one other agent, and now 2.5 years later, we have about 300 agents. We're looking to finish anywhere between 3 to 4 million with all of our carriers, which is really exciting. And I'd love to just piggyback on what Benji said. There's only one plant that I can think of that comes close to not needing to be watered so much, and that's a cactus. There's not too many cactuses out there, to his metaphor, so which meaning that you can give them a contract, you can give them a lead source, and they don't need much. They can just go out there and write business. And then you look at the flip side. Probably the number that's either the 1A or the 1B of why it's tough to building an agency. The other flip side are the plants that need so much water. And you being the botanist you are, you want to save every plant you can. And so you get as much water as this plant is asking for. And what happens, and when I go on these conferences and talk to managers, this is what 9 out of 10 struggling ones say. They put all their time into their agents. They didn't have enough time for their own business. And so now their agency is suffering, as well as their own personal production is suffering. What I want to talk about today is I want to start with processes. The way to heal or stop the bleeding, if you will, is any time you find yourself as a manager or even an agent giving not as much time to your clients or agents or too much time, that is a lack of process. There's something wrong with your process. And what I mean by that is Well, let's say right from the get-go, you need 3 things to be successful when you have a good process. Good mental attitude, coachability, and a strong work ethic. If you have these 3 things under a good process, you should be very successful. Now, if you really work hard and you're really coachable, but you don't have a positive mental attitude, I've had a couple of those. They work really hard and they get beat up, and everything that's bad happening, that's how it should be for some weird reason. I've had other people with a great positive mental attitude, but and the work ethic was there, but they weren't coachable. And so all they can know is what they know today and never know anything more. And they'll only be as good today as they will be for the rest of their career. So no matter what process I give them, they'll never follow it. So it doesn't really help. Now, you could be coachable. You can have a positive mental attitude, but if someone's got to call you to get you out of bed, something's wrong. So if you have these 3 things, an agent working with me, I am all in. But we have to set up a process as managers where we don't go all in on agents. You know, every good manager out there, you know what their number 1 fear is? Is that an agent will take advantage of their kindness. But you also have to have a process where you're not so jaded to everything that if someone does come by and need your help, that's why we're here. I don't come across too many successful managers that their why is for the money. Managers love inspiring people. What managers really, you want to see them at their happiest time? Get an agent that's new or get an agent that's in a slump and let a manager work with that agent and watch that agent's career change. There will be nothing that makes a manager or a trainer or an upline, whatever you like to call it, feel more significant and feel more pumped. They'll be more pumped for your sales than you are. And you won't fully understand why until one day you're in that same role. Nothing feels better. Well, very few things feel better than that. With that being said, how do we set up a process? Well, here's what I typically do. I love how Keith said, he just has a process, not the process. I feel exactly the same way. When I meet an agent, I say, okay, I'm glad you're interested in the opportunity. It's going to take you about 5 to 7 days to get contracted. I want you to learn this script. It's only a couple of pages long. Learn that script, and we'll talk next week. If I talk to that agent next week, and he said, oh, well, this came up and that came up, but I'll get to it, I'll say, sure, give me a call when you get to it. Now, if an agent goes through the script, I don't care if they do it good or not. I just want to see their effort. Did they try? And if I really felt that they gave it everything they got, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it everything I got to make sure that they are successful. And I think if you have a process right off the bat that sets the standard, a lot of times when agents come in, it's because they're not aware of what standard it's going to take to have the success that they want. If I can just say one more thing, well, I guess I have the floor. Another reason why agents may underperform is because if you're not working in an office, then all what keeps you going is your why. And I love being with One Life because a lot of these conventions, they talk about the why, and they can't talk about it enough because it's everything. If you don't identify with your why, you will only, and you're not in an office, you will only do as much work as you feel like it, as much as you'd like to. This business is not always going to be so friendly to you. As a matter of fact, the best parts of this business happens at the worst times of being rejected. And if you work as much as you feel like it, you're not going to get the fruits of your labor. And this business will seem like a grind. But when you identify with your why, or if you're with people that keep each other accountable, you'll work through those things. I had a time where I had tons of talent, but because I didn't have an office setting, the production I knew was a fraction of what it should have been. I changed the culture. We started focusing on the why, and my biggest shoot up in premium, first thing I did was look at the numbers to see who new we recruited. Same roster, but all in tune with their why. And I don't know what it is, but if I say, hey, why are you in this business? And you say to help people, then my follow-up question is, well, would you do it for free? And if you say no, then when someone asks you for your why, it's got to be more than just helping people. Get as specific with your why as possible. I feel that most agents, first of all, they don't even know the significance of having a why, but once you understand it, really breaking down, why are you in this business? Because I'll tell you, I'm in an office right now, and to be honest with you, I spent maybe the last 3 or 4 months running my agency, either traveling or on my hammock. But I worked with a partner, and I want to build multiple franchises of the culture that I'm setting in this office. That why is what's going to get me off the hammock to drive 3 hours to the office and then 3 hours back when I stay there a couple of days. If it's just about making money, I'm staying on the hammock. But this is something that excited me. And you got to have something that's going to excite you. And it's got to be past money. And if it is about money, what's the money going to do for you? What's it going to do for your family? What's it going to do for your legacy? There's so many people concerned that I don't blame them. We're one of the few opportunities where we can actually leave our residuals of our hard work to our family. How amazing is that? So the first thing you want to perfect is your process. And what I also mean by process is, if you have a sales process where it's like ping pong, you say this, I say that, or it's fencing, that's not a sales process. That's you just going to beat them with rebuttals until they're in a corner and they say, okay, deal. You want to have a seamless process where people talk about how important trust is, but it's so much more important, rather than the agent to the client, so much more important from the client within themselves. For example, if I go into the supermarket, I'm buying Granny Smith apples every single time. Why? I don't know anything about Granny Smith. I don't know her integrity. She can stand for everything that I'm against, but I feel that I have enough information. I'm going through organic aisle. It must be good. I feel like I have enough information where I can make a decision today. Anytime you hear I need to think about it or I need to talk to somebody, it's because there was a lack of trust built in your sales presentation, and it has to be with the client, with himself. Another thing about a seamless sales presentation, it's kind of like those nerdy Dungeons and Dragons books, if you're familiar with it. It starts off, there's a dragon, turn to page 5, use your sword, turn to page 22, use your shield, turn to page 44 to run like a little limp. Whatever you choose, the book is guiding you to the end. Your sales presentation needs to be so much like that. Whatever your clients say, you need to give them options to guide them. You shouldn't have to put them in a corner. There shouldn't be any fear tactics. It shouldn't be like a shakedown. You're simply, your job is to be informative first and foremost. And as long as you come in with a sales presentation that all it does is lay out the information, you find the person's needs. Well, I guess the first thing is you find the person's need, and then you lay out a presentation where they feel that they have enough knowledge where if they didn't even like me, they'd still buy just because they know this is the best thing for their family. And your recruiting process should also be the same. You should have an idea of 5 to 10 questions you ask on every call. You should have an idea on the same responses that will come back. You should be able to almost do the conversation of the agent and yourself. That's how you are prepared in your process. Now, once we have our process down, and there's a lot of great sales processes out there, I'm more biased to mine. Once you have that, I try to tailor all of my conference calls that I have with my agents to what's happening now. And if I could say, I know not everyone's into football, not everyone's into fantasy football, but if you saw today or yesterday, there was a man named, any Prior fans, I apologize, but he was a man that, killed the whole franchise. He couldn't play as a wide receiver on your most mediocre team. However, unfortunately, the Browns were really hurt and decimated. He was the only guy out there. If anyone's fantasy football, his stats were crazy. And what does that teach us? Is that it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. I mean, it helps if you're good. But what mattered was activity. I was getting the ball thrown him so many times. It didn't matter if he was good or not. And that's how it is in this business. Whether if you think you're good or you're bad, all that doesn't even matter because there is no good or bad. It's just how efficient you are with leads. And if you're lacking in efficiency, you can always make that up with hard work. Just a real quick story. I was working part-time. I was working with 3 to 5 year old leads, and I had a batch of leads, and from November to January 5th, I made 2 sales. That was me part-time. Full-time, from January 5th to the second week of April, with 3 to 5 year old leads that were worked by about 4 or 5 different agents. I was writing $6,000 at least every single week from January 5th to the second week of April. Now, I walked in. The trainer was so bad. He was there for 10 years. I replaced him in 3 months. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I was writing this premium off old leads and a lack of wisdom for the final expense business. I was doing that off sheer enthusiasm. I had never been presented a lead card where someone actually filled out their name, their number, their address, and actually requested insurance. I've done a lot of things. I've sold insurance on the street for 2 years. If we were in person, I'd be able to go through how I did that. But all the things I did, I had never had someone actually request for insurance. And I remember being in the office, and Lisa was there, and she was saying, Pete, who's a trainer, his agency does $6,000 to $10,000 a week, bragging, and I just said, Lisa, you guys are better than me. I've never done this before, but I will tell you this, you're not going to outwork me. And she took that as a challenge, one that she lost almost every single week. And I was writing more than Pete's agency. Why? Enthusiasm. I was grateful. I feel like a lot of agents out there, if they ever hit a slump, check how grateful you are about the things around you. No script could make up for your enthusiasm. So all I did was call from 9 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night with 2 breaks to eat. Did that Monday and Tuesday and sometimes Wednesday. And I would book up sometimes Wednesday, my Thursday, Friday, and sometimes my Saturday. 8 appointments every day. The reason why I do that, there's a lot of old school agents, if you talk to them, they say, well, I'm seeing clients, and when I'm not seeing clients, I'm on the phone with clients to go see them. There's no momentum doing it that way. I love when I wake up and I focus. I love when I wake up. Monday is phones. I'm on the phones. I'm not faxing paperwork. All that stuff was done Sunday. My leads are properly prepared, very organized. I know what I'm doing for the whole week, and it has to be that way. And that's how I did it. I probably lost so much money in the process because the things I was saying, I didn't have a very good script. But when I hear an agent that donuts, we just had an agent on the phone use the Dignity program. He wrote $6,500 in business with no leads just by seeing his old clients and using the Dignity program. And me and him both agree, any time there's zero in premium for the week, the lack of effort and usually a lack of tenacity. And that's not stuff that we can put into somebody. But what people sometimes need to see are other agents being successful. I came into this new office that I'm in right now, and I was talking about using refurbished leads. They're just as good as fresh leads. They looked at me like I was crazy. Brandon goes out with Dave for 1 week. It was a half a week, so $5,000 in premium off 3-year-old leads. Office bought in. A lot of people need to see it to believe it. And if you really want to know, just look at your leaderboard. And the great thing about One Life is that, I've had Steve talk to me till 2 o'clock in the morning, has no vested interest in my success. He would talk to me. I don't know how he sleeps. I don't know where he gets time to, but he would talk to me till I just couldn't take in information anymore. In a business where everyone's out for themselves, I've never found an opportunity quite like Life where they're just so all in to help. So I know I had 10 to 12 minutes. Probably went a little bit over it. I hope that there was some things that I said that we can benefit from. If there was at least one thing, then I'm pumped. One Life's done so much for me. Anything I could do to help would just wouldn't pay it back enough. Would anyone like to ask any questions?
Sure. I tell you what, if anybody would like to ask a question, we can open the floor now. Let me give you instructions on how to do that. All you have to do is press *6. Once you do, state your name, and then follow by giving us your question, and then we'll go from there. If you'd like to ask a question of Adam, then feel free to do so. Again, *6. Well, Adam, I think you may have covered it pretty well.
If I had 2 or 3 hours, I can go a little bit more in detail in my processes. But anything I could ever do for you guys in the future, let me know. More than happy to.
Absolutely, and we may have you back on before too terribly long. Thank you again for being on the call, Adam. And again, thank all of you folks that call in every week for being a part of our conference call. We appreciate all your efforts. If there's anything we can do, as Adam mentioned, anything we can do to help you, let us know. That's going to wrap us up for this week's conference call. Make sure you join us again next week at 10:30. Until then, let's have a wonderful week. God bless you all.